A lot of you have been asking what's really going on with the talk about new $2,000 stimulus checks and whether this could actually put money in your pocket. If you're on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, SNAP, or you're just trying to make ends meet right now, this update matters because it touches on the cost of living, the federal budget, and whether the White House can push something like this through without Congress. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of arguments in Washington, and a lot of confusion about what's real and what's just political talk. So let's break this down in a simple, calm way. I've gone through the latest statements, the official comments, and the reports coming out of Congress, so you don't have to dig through all the political back and forth. My goal is to make this clear so you understand what's being proposed, what the obstacles are, and what it could mean for people on fixed incomes. Right now, there's a lot of disagreement between the White House and key Republican lawmakers, and that's creating a major roadblock for this proposal. To put this into real-life terms, imagine someone like Maria, a retiree living on Social Security who's been stretching every dollar on groceries, medications, and heating costs. She heard the talk about $2,000 checks and thought maybe, finally, something could help her breathe a little easier. But now she's watching Congress push back, hearing arguments about deficits and legality, and wondering whether any of this will ever make it to her mailbox. That uncertainty is exactly what so many people are feeling right now. Here's what we're going to walk through together: what Trump is proposing, where the money is supposed to come from, why members of Congress are pushing back so hard, who might actually qualify if anything moves forward, and what you should realistically expect in the coming weeks. We'll also talk about the possible alternatives the White House has mentioned, like tax credits instead of direct checks, and what that would mean for people on benefits. And because so many of you rely on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, or SNAP, I'll explain what this proposal could look like for each group. So here's the situation in plain language. Trump has said he wants to send out at least $2,000 per person using money collected from tariffs. Tariffs are basically taxes on imported goods, and he's claiming that the revenue from these tariffs could be used to fund a kind of dividend for low and middle-income households. The issue is that experts and lawmakers are pointing out that the amount of tariff revenue available is far below what would be needed to fund checks of this size. Estimates suggest the government has collected around $120 billion from tariffs, while sending $2,000 checks to about 150 million Americans would cost close to $300 billion. That's a huge gap. Another important point is that Congress usually has to approve any major direct payments like this. Several key Republican senators have already said they don't support using tariff revenue for new stimulus checks. Their argument is that the money should go toward reducing the deficit, not expanding spending. Some have also warned that putting billions of dollars directly into the economy at once could increase inflation, something that hits low-income households the hardest. Others say plainly that even if the idea sounds appealing, it can't be done legally without Congress signing off. The White House has hinted at other ways they might try to get money to people if Congress refuses to approve direct checks. Instead of mailing payments, they've talked about offering tax credits or deductions on things like tips, overtime, Social Security income, or auto loan interest. But for many viewers, especially seniors or people on SSI or SSDI who don't have taxable income, credits like that don't provide immediate help. That's why the details matter so much, and right now those details are still unclear. For people on Social Security, this could play out very differently depending on whether the government uses direct payments or tax-based relief. A direct check would go to you just like the stimulus checks during the pandemic. But if it turns into a tax credit, the benefit might be smaller or even non-existent for people who don't owe taxes. Veterans, caregivers, and people using SNAP are in the same situation. They might only benefit if the final version is a direct payout. Right now, the biggest challenge is simply that the math doesn't line up. There isn't enough tariff revenue to cover the cost, and much of that revenue is already earmarked for other purposes. On top of that, the Supreme Court is reviewing whether a president even has the authority to levy certain tariffs without Congress, and the outcome of that case could limit what the White House can legally do going forward. All of this puts the proposal on very shaky ground. Even though this news is frustrating, there is still value in staying informed. These discussions affect future stimulus efforts, benefit changes, and budget decisions that directly impact people living on fixed incomes. And even small policy shifts, whether it's a deduction, a credit, or a check, can make a difference when you're trying to cover rent, utilities, or medical costs. Let's pick up right where we left off. A lot of people are wondering what this means for them in real life, not in political speeches, and the truth is that any kind of extra financial help can make a big difference when every dollar counts. Even a small increase or a one-time payment can mean a week of groceries, a refill of a prescription, or catching up on a bill that's been stressing you out. For someone on Social Security or SSDI, that little bit of breathing room can be the difference between falling behind and staying stable. And for many veterans or families using SNAP, it can mean a chance to finally get ahead for once instead of constantly playing catch-up. But it's also important to stay grounded. Right now, nothing about these $2,000 checks is guaranteed. The biggest challenge is that the proposal doesn't have the support it needs, and the funding doesn't line up with the cost. Tariff revenue simply isn't enough to cover checks of this size for so many people, and that's why lawmakers are pushing back. They're worried about the deficit, about inflation, and about whether a president can legally redirect this kind of money without approval from Congress. Those concerns aren't going away, which is why this is far from a done deal. So, what can you do? This is one of those moments where staying aware of the updates really matters. Keep an eye on what the White House says next, especially if they start to move away from direct payments and toward tax-based changes. If you receive Social Security, SSI, or SSDI and you don't file taxes, you'll want to pay close attention because tax credits may not help you the same way a direct check would. If you do file taxes, even on a small income, you'll want to make sure your information is up to date so you don't miss anything that could benefit you. If you're on SNAP or another assistance program, try to stay aware of income rules or reporting requirements. Even though nothing has been finalized, it's still smart to plan ahead. If your state offers extra help with utilities, rental assistance, or emergency food benefits, checking those resources now can give you more stability while Washington debates these proposals. And if you're a veteran receiving VA benefits, you may want to watch for updates from the VA as well, because sometimes federal benefit changes lead to adjustments or guidance from specific agencies. It's completely normal to feel frustrated or tired of hearing about things that may or may not happen. Many people feel like they're always waiting for help that never comes fast enough. But you deserve to know what's being discussed, and you deserve clear, honest information without hype or empty promises. Even when the news is uncertain, having clarity helps you plan, and planning gives you back a bit of control. Think about someone like Harold, a veteran living on a fixed VA disability payment, who uses every trick he knows to stretch his budget each month. Hearing about a possible $2,000 check gave him hope, but the pushback from Congress leaves him unsure. Or someone like Denise, a mom working part-time while caring for her daughter who has disabilities. For her, a one-time payment could help cover school supplies, winter coats, or a car repair she's been putting off. These are the kinds of real situations that make proposals like this feel so important, even when the chances are uncertain. If nothing else, remember this. Needing help doesn't make you weak. Millions of people across the country are in the same place you are, doing the best they can, stretching what they have, and hoping for some relief. You are not alone, and there is nothing shameful about using every resource available to support yourself and your family. Staying informed is one of the smartest things you can do, because sometimes these proposals change quickly, and the people who know what's happening are the ones who benefit first. I'll keep watching this situation closely and break down any real changes the moment they happen. If you want ongoing updates about Social Security, SSI, SSDI, VA benefits, SNAP, stimulus news, and anything that affects your wallet, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss important deadlines or opportunities. And if you know someone who's also struggling or living on a fixed income, consider sharing this information with them so they can stay informed too. We're all in this together, and staying connected helps everyone stay a little stronger.